Three. 1, 2, 3.
What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? Hey, it's your boy Billy Ratliff here with the Volunteer Road Show. Hey, what's going on, Bobby?
Oh man, this is a family show, Billy. I don't know if I should answer this right now, but got one of our sponsors on the line, and Jesse from Hound Dogs, and I'd hate for him to pull his sponsorship if I told you how I was really feeling. But I'm doing okay. How about you, Billy?
Oh man. Hey man, I am great today, man. You said Jesse? Is Jesse with us today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
I'm doing good, Jesse. Man, what you think about the game, Jesse?
Oh man, I'll tell you, I've been in a funk all day because of that game. You know, they played good. I mean, I really don't have a whole lot of complaints. I mean, missing free throws and missing shots, that really doesn't have anything to do with how they play. Just sometimes you're on it and sometimes you're not in basketball. I mean, I think most people that play sports know that sometimes you just go cold and you can't hit the shots that you always hit. But they played a really good game and just fought so hard to get back in it. And to just have it taken away from them the way it was, I don't know. I mean, I hate to be that person that's always blaming the refs, because I'm always the first one to say, you know, you got to take the game in your own hands. But it has really seemed like since day one of this tournament, those refs have tried to knock us out of it, and we've just kept overcoming. They finally got their wish, and they pulled it out from under us, and there wasn't nothing we could do.
Well, you know, it was a great game, Jesse, man. I think I had the same feeling, same way, man. So, like that first half, it just wasn't the Vols team that we have seen all year in the first half. You know, they played the first half like they've been playing the second half, and I wish they could have just put both halves together and came out with a victory. But it was just a tough one when you got a guy like they got Klein from Purdue shooting threes like Steph Curry, and it's hard to beat teams that are not missing a shot. You know, as you know, like every team that we play has a great 3-point shooter, and we fell in that same line, and we got the same outcome of a 3-point shooter beating us, man. So I still give a lot of credit to those guys. They fought their hearts and gave it all in the end, and we still had a chance to win the game. But just did an amazing job, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can't say enough of how thankful I am for those guys. They put their blood, sweat, and soul into this town and into that university and playing that ball for us, and they've been exciting to watch. I hate to lose Schofield and Alexander, but you know, that's just part of the game. They're going to move on and do some better things and keep going forward in their lives. But, you know, I hope they know how much we appreciate everything that they put out there for us and given us this season.
I agree with that.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'll tell you, I agree. The same thing with me. I understand, you know, seniors leaving, and I was a senior myself. Those guys are thinking the same way. They're not ready to leave either. You know, it's just part of that thing where you got to go. So I wish to.
Hey, Billy, I think you got some audio. It sounds like you're kicking from your headset to your phone back and forth there. I don't know if you've got your phone plug jack all the way in or not, but it keeps clicking in and out. I've got a question for Jesse. Does this what do you think about Grant Williams? Is he going to the NBA? A lot of people are saying there's a chance he'll come back. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, I've talked about this, him and Bone, a lot this season. Talked to a lot of people. My first thought was, you know, his parents are really big about education, but I didn't realize it. Somebody was telling me, and y'all can correct me, that he's actually graduating this semester, getting his degree. So I thought at first, my thought was, no, there's no way he goes to the NBA. He's going to finish his degree. But if he's already doing that, I just, I don't know what to think. I'd like to think that because of the way they lost and because of the things that were stacked up against them and not being able to do what they wanted to do and aspired to do, I'd like to think that he comes back for another season with a chip on his shoulder, ready to really prove what they're capable of. I hope he does. I mean, we need him and Bone to stick around. We really can't afford to lose them. I know we got some big recruits coming in, and we'll be pulling Burns off the bench next season. But Grant's one of them leaders, and he's somebody that is just almost impossible to replace on the team. So my gut tells me that he just stick around and come back next season.
What do you think, Billy?
Well, I mean, he has a great opportunity to make it to the next level in the NBA. He's a big guy that can run the court. That's the way the NBA is now. There's not a lot of guys that are Grant Williams size in the NBA that can move the way he moves. And he could probably play the 5 and stay on the court, even though he doesn't shoot, a lot of outside shots. I think personally he will leave, but, I think he'll do exactly the same thing that Schofield did last year here, enter the draft without hiring an agent and, kind of see where he's at and get his draft status. And, of course, if he has a high draft status, a first-day player, I personally would say, go ahead and take that opportunity, because it's one of those things where it's hard to actually, say don't go and pass up that kind of money, and the next year he goes out and get injured. It would be a sacrifice he had to make. So me personally, I think he should go while he's hot. He's won the SEC Player of the Year 2 years in a row. Of course, like Jesse said, he's graduating just coming in December, in May. And I think personally, by him graduating, I mean, so I personally think, he should go ahead and take it out.
And Melissa Lawson Harris, thanks for watching us on Facebook. Got YouTube cranked up on the simulcast. But what about that play, Billy? You watched it. I listened to it on the radio, and the radio announcer says it was a bad call. I've got to watch the replay. I tend to agree, but can you just blame it all on one call, or how do you feel about blaming it all on that call? What do you think?
Well, you can always say blame it on one call, 2 calls, but it's all in the game. Everybody gets the call sometimes. The calls will never go your way all the time. The Vols didn't lose that game on just those calls. They lost the game in the first half. They did a lot of things that they normally do in the second half, the previous games. So, yes, I mean, those calls were bad calls, but I still don't think it made the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, as a fan, that's the easy thing to do. I do think it was a bad call. It lit up Twitter. Everybody agrees. But we still had a great season. We got a lot to hang our hat on, and we've got some callers. We've got a Big Ten homer calling in, Ohio State fan. Delusional Paul, you're up next. But before I start taking some calls on the Hound Dog of Knoxville hotline at 855-489-7623, we've been giving some $20 gift certificates out to random callers, and Jesse picked out a caller from our last call-in show. So who's the lucky winner, Jesse?
Oh, the lucky winner for this week is going to be Austin out of Lynchburg.
All right, Austin from Lynchburg.
So make sure, Austin, you get a hold of me. Yeah, make sure you get a hold of either Bobby or myself on Facebook, or you can even call the store, 865-357-5650. And we'll get that to you, or you can come by and pick it up if you're in the area.
Yeah, and you could also email volunteerroadshow@gmail.com. That's volunteerroadshow@gmail.com. And we've got Vodka Drinker, Clemson Carson, Hound Dog, Dennis Wilson over here on YouTube. Delusional Paul's on hold. He's up next. And we've got Vol General, Jake the Dog, and one of my favorite Georgia fans, Alan V. But we're going to go ahead and get the delusional call out of the way right now. Everybody, I don't know if you got to talk to Delusional Paul yet, Billy or Jesse, but what you got, Paul? Make it interesting or I'm dropping you.
2 words for you, Bobby. 2 words for you, Bobby. Guess them. The first word's big. The second word's 10, baby.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you what. Let's start with the rest, shall we? Let's start with the rest. There would have been no Tennessee versus Purdue if the rest would have got the Tennessee-Iowa game correct. Iowa got robbed in that game. That was a gift from the Lord that you guys even got to play Purdue. And they were just bigger. They were just stronger. I do compliment those kids for fighting. I mean, I thought I was about to turn the game off when Purdue's up 13-15 late in the second half. I did think that was a great comeback by Tennessee, but them Big Ten boys were just too physical in that first half, just pounding the ball down low. I mean, Tennessee couldn't stop them in the first half. They just put the ball on the block, and those big boys would just get offensive boards, and just too easy.
Hey, Billy.
Big Ten basketball, Bobby.
Billy, will you take care of my light work? Handle Paul for me here. Now, Paul, this is a former national champion defensive tackle. Everybody,
Billy Ratliff. I know who he is.
Number 40, Billy Ratliff. Will you handle my light work for me, Billy?
Just, hey, you say ain't any lightweight, man. I never know who you have on the line, man. These guys can be giants for all I know, man. I'm not as big as I used to be, my man. Hey, these guys might throw me around like a paperweight now.
Now, Paul's a good guy. He's been following me.
I just want a little respect. I just want a little respect to the Big Ten.
You got some respect. You got some respect. I mean, you're overrated in football, and you cry about the SEC every year. But other than that, yeah, it's not a bad conference. You can get a good education. Indiana, they're a great learning institution. Ohio State, that I hear they're real good at giving out free tattoos and stuff. But other than that, yeah, I can give some Big Ten some respect.
And Heisman trophies and national championships. All I'll say is, I mean, Purdue's not even, the third best team in the Big Ten, and they just, I think Tennessee reminds me of Georgia football. They got so much talent, and on paper they're one of the best teams, but I just had a feeling they were going to choke in the tourney. I mean, I really think Tennessee was underachieved. I feel like they should have been in the title game or the Final Four, Bobby, but they just had a tough draw against Purdue, and that three-point shooting from Purdue, I mean, that was a fluke. I mean, those guys were just spinning, turning around, and closing their eyes and making those threes. You know what I mean?
All right, be honest with me, Paul. I know it's going to be real hard for you to be honest with me, but what about that call with 1.7 left? Were you a little bit embarrassed?
I will give you that. But you put the kid on the line, Bobby. He misses the first free throw. Pees down his leg, the biggest stage of his life. And I thought, oh my gosh, once he missed that first one, I'm thinking, this kid's got to be so nervous. You got 2 free throws in the big tourney. You got to make them both, and he drills them. I mean, that was smooth. And then you guys had all of overtime and fell apart. So
I got a little.
Go ahead.
I got a little note to throw in. As we all know, I totally disagree with that call at the end of the game, but I will give Edwards some credit. Had he been a freshman, that foul would have never been called. But because he was doing it, he was seasoned and experienced, and he played the game, he threw that leg out there, which showed some contact. That's how he got the call. And I mean, you gotta hand it to him. I mean, he did it. He knew what he was doing. He knew how to draw the foul, and he drew it. And that kept them in the game. And at the end, it won the game for him. So I will give him a little credit on that. I mean, had one of our guys done that, I'd have been like, yeah. I mean, that's just them showing how experienced they are. So I'll give them credit on that one.
But a play before that, Bobby, before they even had the inbound, he went up, and I think it was Williams that would have been his 5th foul. I fouled him. And then the ball went off went out of bounds and they got it in. But, I mean, he should have been at the line shooting 2 before that ever happened. You know what play I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what play
I remember that play as well.
But you know what? It wouldn't have come down to this. I don't know what we were. We were like 4 for 13 from the charity stripe in that first half. That's horrible. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get it, how we were shooting free throws so poorly.
Yeah, that costed them, and just back to the brilliance of the Big Ten. I mean, those boys are just big, and the offensive rebound in the first half, it was like Purdue would miss it, no problem. They get the offensive board and then put in a little bank shot. I mean, it was just big, physical Big Ten basketball, Bobby. That's how we do it.
Well, I told you to make it interesting or I was dropping you. Now you're going off the rails. We're going to see you in football one of these days.
You call me delusional, but I speak the truth, Bobby. I speak the truth in love.
Here's the
Big
truth.
Ten shines again.
Here's the truth for you, Paul. Kentucky has a better record against the SEC in football than Ohio State has against the SEC. That's all I've got to say. Thanks for calling, Paul.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Hey, go Cleveland Browns. Jimmy Haslam, baby. Jimmy Haslam. That's my guy. Go Brownies.
Go back to cutting grass there, Paul.
All
right. We've got.
Hey, I got to cut that grass.
Sorry, I cut him off a little soon. We got Vol General and BVD. They've been on hold for a few minutes. Sorry about that. We got long-winded. You know how these delusional Big Ten and Ohio State fans are. But what you got, Vol General?
Yeah, before I get started, I just got one more thing to say. I very rarely root for SEC teams and when they're not playing another SEC team. I very rarely do that. Just because of that idiot. I hope LSU beats the absolute hell out of Michigan State tonight.
Oh, me. What's the chances of that happening, Billy? Billy, what's the chances of that happening? What about this LSU Michigan State game?
Oh man, I got Michigan State beating LSU pretty good tonight, man. I think LSU is at the end of the road, man. I think we're only gonna have one SEC school left in it after Auburn wins tonight.
You think Auburn's winning?
Auburn's gonna win, man. They still haven't said if the kid's name is he gonna be back for Kentucky, and I think if he plays, I don't think he'll be ready. I think he'll be rusty, and if he don't play, that's a big missing link of the puzzle for them. If Auburn doesn't win, I really think it'll be a close game.
Well, what else you got for us, Fall General? What'd you think about the game? And then I'm gonna go to BVD because I know he's hot.
Yeah, I mean, look, that call, there's nothing. Was it a bad call? Probably. It was probably a really bad call. I disagree with it. But the thing is, I know it was really tough to see. I mean, and I very rarely get on officials because they have one of the hardest jobs in the world. And it was a tough call. It could have gone either way. Was it the wrong call? Probably. But, I mean, come on. Tennessee did not lose that game probably because of that free throw, or because of that foul call. A wise Vol fan once said, make your free throws, win the game.
Yep.
And Tennessee shot 50% from the free throw line. That's where they lost the game.
Yep.
They didn't lose it because of foul call. Even though it was a ridiculous call, they lost it at the free throw line. That's where they lost it.
Yeah, that's 48 at the free throw line. They were 34 for 68 in field goals. I mean, we shoot better than 50% field goals. They were cold. I mean, and I'd say the only reason they were 50% was because they were probably hitting 75% in the second half. They probably were about 20, 30% in the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Purdue guys knocking down shots they'll never hit again in their life. So it just wasn't our night. It just wasn't Tennessee's night. Oh, any way you put it.
Well, I'm still proud of my boys. I'm still proud of them. Regardless of what Grant Williams does, he's going to be involved forever. And I just thank Admiral Schofield, Kyle Alexander, They laid it all out on the line, and you couldn't ask for a better group of guys. You couldn't ask for a better coach, and I'm just super proud of them. Super proud of them, and I can't wait for next season. Do you think Grant Williams is going pro?
I think Grant's going to do the same thing Admiral did last year. I've talked to a few people about it, what they think, and most of them are saying it's 50-50 up in the air. But I think he's going to do what Admiral did last year, and then he's going to come back. I just really feel like that's what he would do. Now, Jordan Bone, on the other hand, that's a different story. I think Jordan Bone is probably gone, and that's a really unorthodox, very strange, rare opinion you get that Grant's coming back, but Bone is leaving. But that's what I think is going to happen.
Hey, Vol General, I completely agree with you on that, to be honest with you. I don't think that Grant's grading in the draft is going to be high enough for him to decide to go. I think he's going to realize that he works great and he's an amazing basketball player in college, but them boys in the NBA are a lot bigger than the boys are in college, and so I think he's still got to work on his perimeter stuff a little bit more to make it the NBA. But I would agree. I think Bone will be ranked higher in Grant when it all comes out, and I think he'll go.
Yeah. And one more thing before I get off here and let y'all get BVD's call, which, by the way, I'm going to have to listen to that because that should be pretty good. But anyway, like I was saying, with the thing, Tennessee, it just wasn't their night, really. You know, I mean, you got Purdue nailing down shots they'll never make again, probably in their life. You got Klein, who had a career day, and it just wasn't our night. You know, nobody beats Purdue when they're playing like that, when they have Klein and Edwards clicking on all cylinders. And Tennessee almost did it. And I just really hope. There's a lot of people calling this season a failure. And in my book, if you're calling it a failure, it's just not a failure. These guys gave their all. Was it disappointing to see the season end? Yes, it really was for all of us. If you're a Vol fan, the way the season ended, it was a disappointment. But the way these guys played all season for the regular season to win 31 games, tied for the most in school history, that was great to watch. The guys were amazing throughout the season. They were a bright spot in a very dark era for Tennessee athletics as a whole. And it's going to be painful because we all know as Tennessee fans that this group unfortunately did not execute to their full potential. They had the potential and the ceiling to get to a national championship to Knoxville, but it didn't happen. And that being said, it is a disappointing end, but a failure, absolutely not. I'm very proud of these guys to bring a Sweet 16 home, and it's just a great group all around. We're never going to forget this team as Tennessee fans. Never.
I agree.
Hey, we get that. I don't know if you guys saw it, but we're going to get a rematch probably against Purdue next season. We're going down to a tournament down in Destin Thanksgiving weekend that Purdue, Florida State, I can't remember the rest of the teams, but that's two of them I know are going to be there.
Yeah,
do any of y'all know what Carsen Edwards' class is on this year?
We're losing you there, Vol General. I don't know if it's my internet, but thanks for calling, Vol General. We're going to go to Big Vol Daddy, and let's see what BVD has for Billy and Jesse and Catfish. What you got, buddy?
Hey, well, good afternoon, gentlemen. How you all doing today? First and foremost, hope you guys are doing great.
Great.
Jesse, if I'm not mistaken, you listen to a lot of sports talk there at Hound Dogs throughout the day, don't you?
I do.
Did you happen to hear earlier today on Jimmy and John's show the former Big Ten official that called in?
Oh, the sports radio today. I was listening to ESPN. and I'm not sure if it's the same official. I know there was a big basketball official on that show with Max and Stephen A. Smith, and they all said that the call, that it should have never been a call, that was a bad call. Even the big basketball official, I don't remember exactly where he was from or what even his name was, but he said he's like, you can't make that call. You can't give them that foul. He's like, I would never call that. But, I mean, like we said, it's hard to, you can't blame it on that one. So, but what the Big Ten official had to say?
Yeah, I agree with you. You can't blame it on that, but that's what everybody wants to talk about today. And I listened off and on to all four of the shows on the Animal today. And this guy, he was a former Big Ten official, and he said pretty much what you just said, that there's no way that you make that call. He said he counted throughout the second half, there were 7 blown calls in the game, or 7 blown calls, 5 of them against Tennessee and 2 of them against Purdue. But I was curious to see if you had heard that. That's not at all what I want to talk about. And I don't want to complain about the officials, because at this point it's moot, I mean, it doesn't matter. The point is, in my opinion, the team just never played a complete game.
Yeah.
The last 13 games, Tennessee was 8-5. And from my observation, and I'm more of a football guy than I am a basketball guy, but out of those 13 games where they went 8-5, I only saw 2 games where they put together as close to a complete game as you'll see, and that was Kentucky and Knoxville and Kentucky in the SEC tournament. They were very fortunate to beat Colgate, I think. I mean, we all know how extremely fortunate they were not to completely come unglued and blow the Iowa game. And although I'm not going to say they were lucky last night, because they certainly flipped that switch with about 14 minutes to go and made that 14 minutes of basketball so far is the most exciting basketball I've seen in this tournament, save for maybe the UCF Duke game. Back and forth, tit for tat, 3-pointer for 3-pointer, but that kid Klein was just unconscious. That kid was out of his mind last night, and he'll never shoot like that again. He ended up with, I think, 27 or 29 points. I know Jesse mentioned a few minutes ago that Tennessee shot 50%. They were 50% from the free throw line, 50% from the 3-point line, and 50% from the 2-point field goals. And that's just crazy. And you were close, Jesse. They shot 60, I think 65% in the second half. And I feel bad for all of them, really, especially Turner, because he was the one that was given the assignment most of the night to guard Edwards. And if you watch that last play, Edwards had to fight for his life to get away from Turner there to even get an attempt off. And for anybody mad at Turner today, I haven't heard of anybody mad at him, but if you're mad at him, you're just insane. I mean, it was, I don't know. I've been trying all day to put this behind me and move on, but it's hard, man. I can't even imagine how the players feel.
Oh, I can tell you that's the way I've been too. It's been it's like, I would have to say, in the recent history, I mean, we've had a lot of heartbreaking losses in the last 10 years. But this one probably hurt the most that I've had, and it just from a lot of things, because I think I was so emotionally and mentally connected with this team, and they're so unselfish, and they did everything for each other and for the school and for the town. Like that hurt the most. And I don't know if any of y'all saw it, but WVLT was out there when the team got home today. And I tell you, it brought tears to my eyes. There was a ton of fans out there cheering them on when they got off the bus, and all those boys had their heads down, had their hoods on, had their earphones in, and there was not a smile that even came out with probably hundreds of fans cheering at them. You could just tell that they were beat down and they just were lost. And I've never seen that team like that. I mean, I at least expected Admiral to look up and say thank you or something, and he just didn't have it in him. And he kept his hood on, and they grabbed their bags, and into the dorm they went. And it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because they didn't deserve it. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Seeing that, I was just like, man. And Rick came out and he thanked everybody, and he said he thanked for the support. He said he was going to do it better next year. So, that's all we can hope for.
Let me ask you.
I wonder. Go ahead, Catfish. It's your show.
Let me ask you a question, Billy. Do you think we're going to have a huge drop-off? What kind of drop-off, if any, do you think we're going to have in our team next year?
I don't think it'll be a drop-off. When you have teams that go into the tournament like this, they typically return a lot of guys. That's going to be a big piece of what Williams does if he comes back too. They're not going to be a rebuilding team. This team is going to always be a veteran team now because you have guys that's going to want to come to Tennessee and play for Coach Barnes. Now, they have never thought of Tennessee as being a basketball school, and now you see that these guys are really, really believing in themselves that they can actually play with the best of them now. Mm-hmm. And I think that we'll see a better team than we saw this year. I actually think we'll go a lot farther next year. I mean, I think we'll be one of the teams to beat next year. Especially if Grant comes back, it's going to be a tough team to beat. So I really think we'll be just fine. I don't think we'll drop off that much.
Well, BVD, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I'm wearing the hat you gave me when you were on the truck. You finally broke me down, and I'm wearing it. Did you notice that? Or you probably didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I'm watching. I got you on here. I want to say something to Paul real quick if he's still listening.
Yeah, he's listening.
Give it to him. One thing I don't understand. Same. I don't even know if it might have even been Paul calling in early this morning to Heather's show on the Sports Animal. This Ohio State guy called in. And he was acting like Ohio State had knocked Tennessee out last night, and I don't get that. You know me, Catfish. I'm not a conference pride guy. I could care less if LSU wins tonight or Auburn or Kentucky, especially Kentucky. I hope they get drilled. But I'm personally, and I'm curious how Billy feels about this. I'm pulling for Purdue the rest of the way. If you're going to get beat in the tournament, don't you want to get beat by the best? I mean, I'm going to guess that that's what Billy thinks. I don't know. I could be dead wrong, but if you're going to lose to somebody.
Well, I'll tell you this here. I would say the exact same thing. Everybody always say, there's an SEC school that wins, but I don't care about the rest of the SEC schools, just to be honest with you. I'm from Tennessee. And if Tennessee's not winning, no one is winning. So when everybody sees Alabama go and win the national championship and all these things, and they say, hey, SEC won, and that's just coming from Tennessee fans and saying it, I'm like, no, that's not good for us. If Alabama is winning, the kids are still going to Alabama. So, yes, I'm with you on that. I hope Purdue wins it all.
When Georgia and Alabama play in the playoff, my prayer to God and my one wish is that they could play for like 6 weeks and end up tying and nobody win. I know that can't happen, but I mean, it hurts. It's got to hurt recruiting in football when the other schools do good like that. Does it not, Billy?
It does. I mean, that's the thing. The teams that are winning are typically get the best kids to come to the school, and it's a true statement every time. Because you see what Clemson is doing now. You see what Alabama has turned into. You know, they call themselves a dynasty now, but they have not always been that way. But now that they're winning year after year, the best kids will always go to those schools that are winning.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I'm glad, I'm very grateful that Tennessee's doing well in basketball. I'm glad they're hopefully got it going in the right direction in baseball. I'm still kind of up in the air over that. Our softball team really needs to win a national championship. That's a team that, in order to validate the how good they've been over the last decade plus, they need to win a World Series. And we've got some other sports that are doing well right now. I know you've heard me say this a lot, Catfish, and Jesse. I've got a feeling Jesse's probably the same way. I'm a fan of the University of Tennessee. I have been ever since I was 7 years old, running around the farm, watching my papa and my dad listen to John Ward on the radio. I don't just pull for the football team, and I don't just pull for the basketball team. It hurts me deep down in my soul, when we lose any sporting event. And maybe that's crazy, maybe that's insane, but I can't help it. That's the fabric of who I am. And it's why it pains me to see people that are like Tennessee football fans and Duke or Kentucky basketball fans. How can you do that? How can you be a Tennessee fan and a Kentucky fan?
Preach it.
I've never understood it either, man. I've never understood it either. Like, even when you have some of these guys that have like the split tags on their car, whatever, Gator and Tennessee fans. No, that I don't think that can happen in my house.
No, there's no way. If my soulmate walked through the front door right now and took her coat off and was wearing an Alabama shirt, I'd probably turn her around and kick her in the hind end off the front porch. There's no way I could ever marry an Alabama woman. Just ain't happening. Well, we got to get over last night. I know it's what everybody wants to talk about, but we got to get over it. We got spring football in 2 weeks. We've got the big deal going on with Jesse down there. We got to be all smiles, don't we?
Yes, sir. And I know that Bobby Durkin's is
Yes, we do.
Bobby Durkin's on hold, and I'm sure what you said about them split teams resonates with him, because he hates everything South Carolina. He'd probably divorce his wife if he caught her with a South Carolina something on. But anyway, BVD, we're going to jump off here in a few minutes, and I've got 2 more calls. I appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, love you, Bobby C, Jesse,
Love you.
Billy. Can't wait to see you guys here in 2 weeks. And hey, go Vols, and I don't mean basketballs and footballs. Go University of Tennessee.
That's right. Great call,
Yes, sir.
Great call. Love BVD to death. Let's go to the Tater Patch down in South Carolina. Got Bobby Durkins. What's going on, buddy?
Mother, how you doing? How you doing? I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all something. When I called your show, I saw you had a show on, got the little alert, because I'm a good Christian, God-honoring man, put on the notification. And I said, I'm going to call in. I've been calling in, and, it puts you on hold for anybody who's never called in before. Puts you on hold, you get to listen to the show.
Yep.
I started off this show, Catfish. Billy, are you there?
Here.
Billy, are you there?
Yeah, he's here.
Okay. Is Billy? Okay, good. All right. Just making sure. Felt like I got the swing head and lost myself for a second. Anyway, I called the show, Catfish. I listened to y'all talk about that game last night. And by the time you took my call, I have already called my doctor and got him to write me a prescription for Zoloft, because I'm more depressed, and I have nothing to do with the University of Tennessee. Lord, y'all sound awful. Let me go ahead and tell you something. This problem right here in that game last night is nothing that prayer and a good ice-cold 12 can't fix. Y'all gonna be fine. Jesus still on the throne. I heard Pruitt's recruiting well in Knoxville. Y'all gonna be fine, y'all. Y'all gonna be okay. Don't go jump off the back of Neyland Stadium. It was just a flipping basketball game last night. The real volunteer thing is happening this fall.
Yes,
Y'all,
sir.
I know you pull for your team. I'm telling you right now, I need counseling after listening to y'all. Y'all gonna be okay. You hear me? You're gonna be okay. Chant it with me. I'm gonna be okay. No, I hate it for you. I hate it for you. But let me go ahead right now. I think that Kentucky win for y'all a couple of weeks ago was so emotional. So emotional. I'm an emotional human being. A lot of people don't see me as the heartfelt type. I am. I'll hit you in the mouth, you piss me off, but I'm a heartfelt type. You go out and you beat Kentucky like you did. And then the very next day, you lose to your old coach in the fashion that you lost in. The point is, the game the night before was too emotional for you. Too emotional. Back in 1996, I believe it was, there was a guy named Rick Barnes coaching Clemson. And he was coaching, had a really good basketball team. We're in the ACC. It was, God, I can't remember what round it was, but it was right before a championship or something like that. We had to play North Carolina in Greensboro, which basically is a home game for them. We beat them. Hell froze, y'all. We beat them. We were so excited that we beat the favorites to win the ACC. Turned around the next day, and you could tell it was too emotional for us. We lost to Wake Forest. Now, I do believe that Wake Forest team had a guy named Tim Duncan on it. So, give us a little grace. But what happens is these youngins, they don't let them drink ice cold beer, at least legally. If they gave them a few beers, chilled them out, if you're down at Miami, they brought in some strippers, maybe put you on a little casino boat, sent you out into international waters, let you snort some booger sugar, brought them back on campus, and they're fine. But y'all up there, y'all just like us, you're too far inland to go out into international waters. That's what happened to you. And I know, but y'all need to pick your head up. You had a good season. You ain't like Clemson. Clemson sucks at basketball. BVD was just talking just a second ago. Maybe our BVD gets see. He said, I don't understand how somebody can pull for multiple teams. Well, until you have Clemson basketball as your basketball team, I can tell you how. I mean, it's bad down here. I mean, we have settled for mediocrity. And think about being at Clemson, Catfish. You got God at quarterback, and you happen to have God as a head coach. And they both serve Jesus, which is a whole thing in itself. The point is, imagine being in that scenario where nobody cares about you but the football team. But y'all, I know everybody's upset, and I'm the Clemson homer and everything, but I'm just saying, y'all take it easy, because I'm telling you, I can get y'all some prescriptions for some Zoloft too.
Billy?
Y'all there?
What do you think about this Clemson guy? Is he making any sense about that Kentucky game? Do you think that had an effect? We know it did on the Auburn game, but do you think it affected us, had a carryover into the tournament?
I mean, there's so many things you can say that carried over. I mean, the emotions of the guys and how they played and fought through that whole battle. I mean, they gave it all that game, but I don't know if it was the fact that they beat Kentucky the way they did in the second half. But I still say, I mean, they ran up against a very hot Auburn team that was very, I say, pissed off in a sense. They didn't. No one gave them a chance to win this season at all. They was more of a rebuilding team. And, when you have a coach like Bruce Pearl that knows how to motivate guys like that, he had those guys ready to run through a wall, man. You can tell how they came out there and play. You can see how they stick their chests out and they walk on the court. They don't look like they're going to lose to anyone. They come out there and expecting to win, and that's how Bruce got those guys. But, I don't think that played a part in it. I just think that, we had a bad game and Auburn had a great game.
I think you're
Billy,
right.
I can tell you exactly how they come out there all confident, ready to run through a wall. It's commonly known as methamphetamines, and it will do a lot to a human being once they get on methamphetamines. I mean, they'll rock your teeth out and make them look 70 years old when they're the ripe age of 25. But I mean, Lord knows. No, I tell you this, I'm telling you, I am a firm believer in emotion when it comes to playing ball, because I have believe it or not, Bobby Durkins here has coached some teams, some fine young men, threatened to kill every one of them. And I tell you this, I have found that if you threaten to kill a young man during a ball game, they will go out and perform like you would. Well, like their life is on the line. They'll do quite well. But I do agree with you. I think that especially with Pearl, you know, you got the whole thing with playing against Tennessee. You know, he has that added oomph to want to beat y'all. He does. If you saw Barnes play Clemson or Texas next week, Clemson sucks at basketball anyway, but if you saw him come out and play against us, even if we had a good team, and I think hell will hold ice capades down there before we'll have a good basketball team up in Clemson, but if you see him come out and play against him, you can take every dollar I've ever thought about making. They come out, they'd be ready, they'd beat Clemson, because there was that added, I want to show you who's not at your school anymore, who used to be at your school. And it gets emotional. These youngins, it gets in their head. And like Billy said, they take some meth in the locker room, come out there and got your chest poked out. And, you know, it's, anyway, well, listen, I was worried about y'all. Y'all okay?
Wait. You told the call screener you wanted to talk about college football. Don't get off here without asking my main man, number 40, Billy Ratliff, a college football question. That's false advertising.
Listen to me. I am a married man. I like Will. I mean, you got to remember, once you get married, you can tell one with a straight face after a while. No, Billy, we both know the truth is that everybody is more depressed that college football season is not here. I mean, yeah, I know Tennessee lost last night, big whoop. The thing is, y'all would really be happy if y'all beat Alabama this year. Where do you see the state of your alma mater this coming season? Billy, tell me the truth. I mean, shoot it straight from the hip. Like, if we were in the back room, I bought you about four or five beers, maybe threw in a Jägermeister in there to get you all loosened up and stuff. You might even be, you know, nodding your head to the music. Even ugly girls are getting pretty. I've given you that much alcohol. And then you start telling the truth. What would you say about the state of the program of Tennessee football? Go.
Well, I mean, I've always said they got some work to do, you know, to get back to where, you know, they can compete with the rest of the guys. You know, I'm saying just even with the East, because Georgia, you know, they're just as good as Alabama. You know, we're gonna have a tough time with a lot of teams, but I really do think that Pruitt got those guys in the right direction right now. I still think we are at least another recruiting class away from being able to compete with Alabama. But I will say that I think we will make a little noise this year. You know, I haven't even seen the guys practice yet, but I just know how, you know, when you have a coach that the kids believe in, it don't really matter who you have on that field, because those kids, they're going to come to play no matter what happens. They're going to give you every bit of what they have. And that's what boys got of those kids in basketball. So I guarantee you this year we will make a little noise in the SEC East.
A question for you, Billy. How much eligibility do you have left, and could you possibly play for them this year?
I'm giving him my 4 years. I got 4 years, and I'm assigning my 4 years of eligibility to Billy Ratliff.
Yeah, Billy goes out there. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to cut off a leg.
Oh, you're fine. I tell you this, if I had the 4 years, I will be crazy enough to go out there and try it again. I tell you that.
Right. I got a question for you. When you were playing football, Billy, be honest here. Remember, Jesus is listening. When you were out there playing football, did you ever pull any dirty moves? You know, like had a hand slap to the head to ring their head, punch them in the goober, maybe say something bad about their grandma. You know, something like that. Did you ever do anything like that, Billy?
I'll tell you this, that is what's called football. Anything necessary to get inside the man that's across you head. If you can get inside the head, it's going to be a long game.
I like it. That's my type of man right there. I was told earlier, I'm going to let you go after this one. Thank you for taking my call. I know you could have easily hit ignore, though I would have kept calling and eventually earned a restraining order. But I will say this to you. The truth is, Billy, I believe in you. I believe in y'all. And I believe y'all have a great shot at maybe pulling some upsets in the East this year. I really do. I think you do. I believe in it 100%. I believe in it. All I'm asking y'all is, I don't care if you lose every game. Beat those pathetic, dookie, pecking Gamecocks from Columbia, the armpit of South Carolina's butt this year, and you'll have the biggest, of course, Clemson fan in the world right here, biggest second-rate volunteer fan you ever find. I think y'all be good. Be good. Remember, take your Zoe off. Y'all are depressed. Good talking to y'all. Be good. Bye.
Thank you for calling, man.
We're not letting South Carolina off the hook again, are we, Billy? We're just not going to let them off the hook. We let them off the hook the last 2 years.
Yeah, we got to stop doing that, man. We got to get back to the point where we are feared, at least in the East, man. At least let them know the orange is coming, man. It's been a while since we had that swag, but I think we're getting ready to get a little bit of that back. So I can't wait to see it, man.
Well, Jesse, and Billy, we've got a Gator fan calling. I've been telling him he needs to take some protein powder, be doing some push-ups, so come football season he can talk some smack to Billy. But what you got, Ryan? Crying Ryan, what you got for us?
I agree with Bobby Durkins. You might be able to get an upset in the East. You might be able to upset Vanderbilt this year.
And
maybe.
Florida.
Nah, just Vanderbilt.
Take care of my
Vanderbilt. Wow.
Take care of my light work, Billy. Will you take care of this little nitwit?
Oh man, eventually he's gonna wake up, man, and smell the coffee, man. At least smell some bacon or something. It's I don't think he realized what he's getting himself into this year. Now I will say this: the Gators will be a whole lot better this year. They will be. But I think they're going to have their hands full this year. I don't think it's going to be – they should have got beat this year. But I'm a fan of yours only as good as your last game. So, yes, he has the upper hand on us right now. But this year, I'm calling it we will smash the Gators this year.
Yep.
No Gator chumping this year, man.
Yep. What you say about that, Ryan?
It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you don't have a very good track record when you come down to Gainesville. I mean, you look at the last 2 times you came down to Gainesville, it was closer than it probably should have seemed, but it really didn't go in your favor. I guarantee you, Catfish remembers those 2 games.
Hey, Ryan.
Right, Catfish, remember those 2?
Ryan, look here. You got one rule when you call the show. Make it interesting, or I'm dropping you. That's all you got.
I'm making it interesting. I'm just saying, it's not going to happen. You're too scared to say that it's not going to happen. So you're just going to be here with blind optimism rather than realism.
Jess, are you there still?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody? Do you know any kids that go to Farragut?
I'm anonymous. Know me.
I know a couple.
You don't know me.
Will you give them a ring and say, look up old Ryan Strick and get him in the corner in the bathroom and rough him up a little bit for me? Can you do that?
I'll see what strings I can pull on that one for you.
Is Jesse like a hitman or something?
Yep.
I don't know how it's
First off, you got to get past Miami. Are you getting past Miami first game of the season?
Is that a rhetorical question?
No, it's an actual question.
Of course we're getting past by Miami.
What do you think, Billy? Are they going to be able to get by Miami?
Man, that's a tough game, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be a real good game. It just depends on what Florida team shows up. I mean, you know, they've always been good on defense. You know, the offense has been very challenging this past few years. They haven't had that explosive offense since my boy Tebow left, and that's what's been the challenge for the Gators. They haven't been bad at defense at all. Just offense is what they've been struggling on. So if they can get that offense to score some points, they may be able to have a chance to beat Miami, but I think Miami going to beat them this year.
Uh-oh. Who's going to be your quarterback,
Wishful
Ryan?
thinking.
Ryan, who's going to be your quarterback, Emory or Felipe?
Either one's better than whatever Tennessee or Miami has, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
That wasn't the question. Which one do you want?
Which one do I want?
Yeah.
Or which one do I think?
Either one.
Want Emory because I think he has much more talent, but I think Felipe will because I think he's just playing with something to prove. Like he feels like he has to prove himself, and he's playing with a lot of physicality right now, and I think Mullen is really like that.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think he'll be the starting quarterback this year too.
Well, what else you got for us, Ryan, before we end the show? Are you going to come see me and Billy and BVD the 13th of April at Hound Dogs?
I don't think so, man. I think the Florida spring game's on the same day. You know.
Come on, man. Well,
I don't know, man.
Keep doing your push-ups. Get your protein powder in. What kind of dietary advice do you have if you want to bulk up? If you're a scrawny little nitwit, Billy, and you want to bulk up, what kind of diet do you need?
Well, I'll tell you this here. If you're trying to bulk up, man, you don't need a diet, man. You just eat. Eat as much as possible and burn off all that and keep doing it, man. Just eat.
All right. How much do you weigh, Ryan?
195.
And
not nearly as much as Billy. Billy's gonna give me, man.
I tell you what, if you come out and see us at Hound Dogs, I'll get you a Tennessee hat. What do you think about that?
You won't catch me wearing it.
Well, you got your family.
I'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. Well, you're always good at the show. I'm sorry I had you on hold so long, but we're going to get on out of here. Did you have anything else before we go?
Go Gators.
All right. Now I'm going to drop it. Now I'm dropping it. All right, Ryan.
Bye.
Go do your homework, Ryan. All right, Billy. That was another great show. Jesse, I appreciate you. And we're going to try to do this every Friday. We may tinker with a day. Me and Billy's been talking a lot off air about maybe switching the day up to try to see about getting some more views and what's more convenient for everybody. But this show belongs to you guys. We couldn't do it without you, the fans. It's built by fans, and it's for the fans, and it belongs to you, the fans. So give me a go Vols before we go, Jesse and Billy.
Oh, go Vols.
That's right. All right, guys. Y'all know what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. The football season has officially begun. Come out and see me, Billy, BVD, and Jesse at Hound Dogs the day of April 13th. And we're going to kick this football season off right. And we're going to surprise a lot of people, just like Billy said. I promise you that.